sign says heated classes, and we have just turned up the heat. So be prepared to be baked. Welcome to Satsang. Namaste. Hi, welcome. Your kids? Cool. Perfect timing. And they all look so much like you. I think when I came and saw you, maybe, I don't know, it was like 2014 or something like that. That was 5 years ago, so you only had 2 at that time?
She's probably a baby. Yeah.
A baby, just born.
Yeah.
Crazy. So in 2012, I had a darshan, or a private meeting with my teacher, Sri 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 Swami Purna Maharaj. We lit a little candle for him. Good boy. And Swami Purna said to me, Brian, it's time for you to leave your whole life behind and set out on the road and travel across the country, US and Canada, and share these gatherings with people. It was a 3-minute conversation that I had with him. That was in 2012. And I said, yes, of course, anything you say. And then for 3 years, I traveled in my van, and I had a little bed in the van. Everywhere I went, I knocked on yoga studios, and I said, will you have me? Can I hold a gathering here? And most yoga studios actually said no, weren't interested, because I don't have a following. But some were open to it, and Jenna was actually open to it. This was the gathering, I think, that we had in Templeton, previous yoga studio, somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that was during those 3 years that I was living out of my van. But it seemed that everywhere I went, there was some kind, generous person who housed me, so I didn't have to live in my van only. That was very nice. At first, I didn't think it was possible. I always thought I was going to sleep in the van, and there were times I'd be sleeping on the side of the road, well, in one of those like a truck stop, either that or a parking place on the side of the freeway, where you rest stop. Yeah, and I would hang out with the truck drivers, and they would be sleeping in their truck, and I would be sleeping in my van. And sometimes it got so cold, especially in Tennessee. I woke up one morning early, 2 a.m., and my feet were numb. I couldn't feel them. It was so cold. So I had a little butane heater that I turned on in the van. And, I put my feet right by the heater like this, And then after an hour, the butane heater ran out of butane. No! It was so cold. I said, I can't get back to sleep. My feet are still frozen, even right next to the heater. So I turned on the car. The car's name, the van, I called her Persistence, was her name. Unfortunately, she broke down 11 times before I finally left Austin to go on my journey. But and then I started to drive off, and after about 2 or 3 hours, my feet finally came back to life. Those were the kind of things that happened to me during my 3-year adventure. And then after 3 years, I settled down in Los Angeles and have been holding regular gatherings in Los Angeles. And every so often, kind of venturing out into other places who might be open. And it was Chelsea who connected me with Jenna, and I didn't even know who Jenna was until I saw Jenna just a few minutes ago, and I said, wait a minute, I know you. So it was so strange that I'd already met her. So now, what is the purpose of a gathering like this? This gathering called a satsang. The word sat in Sanskrit means truth, and sang means gathering in truth. And the purpose of the gathering is to I was going to say knock your socks off, blow your head off. I don't know, but those are probably too extreme. We don't want any gore happening, so don't worry. More like you're connecting into a spiritual energy. An energy, it's almost like a fire. And if you connect deeply enough, it starts to sort of burn away your identity, who you think you are. And at some point, you realize you sort of pop out of your normal identity as a human and go, oh, I'm spirit. And that's how it works. It may sound simple, and it is simple, yet seems to be so complicated, because in yoga, there's so many different paths. Patanjali wrote about the Eightfold Path of Yoga. And those 8 steps, man, there's a lot of work to do. Read the scriptures, do breathing, withdraw your senses, do these pretzel poses. I mean, how much work does it take to reach God? Can I just knock on the pearly gates and say, will you take me? Make it a lot more simple than have to go through all the work of yoga, right? And yet some yogis will go through 40 years of serious yoga practice and barely approach the divine, barely, after 40 years of serious work. You wonder why? After all my yoga practice, what did I do? Why am I not any closer? Why is my mind not more still, quiet, serene? You see, I have found the secret. Do you want me to tell you the secret? The secret. Can't leave the room. It's very, very important to connect into genuine spiritual energy. And the way you detect it is right here. Right here. So if you open this space and feel something deeper inside, and it's difficult to explain, but it's like this subtle shift. Energy, fire, presence, whatever you want to call it. Just place your attention in that energy, and it takes you on a beautiful ride into your own soul. But that energy is crucial, because you could go to yoga classes where there's no spiritual energy. You're simply doing exercises and stretches. And I'm not saying that that's bad. It's awesome. You'll probably live a lot longer, probably be a lot healthier, probably be happier even, because you have a happy body. But there's definitely something beyond the physical form that yoga asana is trying to help you to reach, to connect into what you might call a higher state of consciousness. And there's a couple of ways to describe it, but imagine that you're not actually inside this body. See this little body right here? That's not you. Did anyone ever tell you that? Like at school, they say, you're not your body. Now we're going to have a test on this at the end of class. A quiz, pop quiz. Are you your body? Yes or no? We don't get yoga or spiritual classes in school generally, right? They don't test us on that. They test on science, math, maybe computers, physics, whatever it is, the sort of rational sciences. But this yogic science, this is like a different realm. Schools have a lot of issues with this. I mean, some schools are not even allowed to mention the word God. So yoga, that's too deep. We're not sure if we believe in it because it's invisible. But are your emotions visible? Can you see your emotions? You can't see them, right? You can't. They're invisible, yet you know when you're happy. You know when you're sad. You know when you're angry. You don't have to see red in order to say, oh, I'm angry. You just know. Same with spiritual energy. If you are attuned to a higher frequency, when you walk in this room, you immediately know there's something different. You're connected to something, And when I say the presence, imagine that your body is walking around, but you're watching the body walk around. How can you say that I'm the body then if you're watching your body walk around? Does it make any sense? Does it make any sense ever to show your driver's license then and say, this is me? You know it's not you. Have you ever had an out-of-body experience? Right? You're not in the body. The moment you have an out-of-body experience, you know that you're not this body. What is the body? It comes from earth. Earth, water, fire, space. And if you took apart this little body and you tried to find the me, the I, the person, the little person, would you find like a little mini-me somewhere in your brain? And go, oh, doctor, I found me. You're not in there. You can't find it. I don't care if the doctor were to check in your nose, he wouldn't be able to find you. Your feet, are you in your big toe? So wherever you search inside the body, you won't be able to find you. Also, the same thing goes for your mind, right? Today, you could feel one way, a certain personality. The next day, you could be in a really bad mood, and you're a totally different person. So am I the Jenna that was yesterday and the Jenna's tomorrow? They're different people. The mind keeps shifting. And if the mind keeps shifting, personality and changing, is it you? No, because it's always changing. It comes and it goes. Your moods, your personality changes and it comes and it goes. So you can't say that even the emotions in the mind are you. So then you're still searching for this you. Where are you? If you're not your personality, which, by the way, your personality has been programmed by your parents, your family, your friends, your coworkers, your whole society. They've all fed in all the ideas of me. That's what makes you up as your personality. But that's not actually true. Because if you grew up in Africa, in a tribe, and they taught you something different, you'd be a totally different person, wouldn't you? Completely different. So you're not the personality, you're not the mind, you're not the body, and so you keep searching, where am I? That would mean that no one is actually here. The real, and you say, you ever heard that song? Will the real Slim Shady please stand up? Will the real me please stand up? I like that song because it says a lot. Will the real me, what's real? And the yogi, as he or she progresses, I don't know why I'm making a little figure walking on my hand, but as the yogi walks along the spiritual path, suddenly he or she pops out into another state of consciousness where he's no longer feeling the body. Have you ever felt that? Watching your body. I remember going to a Swami Purna retreat. At the end of one day, I went back to my room, hanging out with some friends, talking about spiritual things. In a spiritual retreat, talking about spiritual subjects, now that's cool. And suddenly, I wasn't inside the body. I was in the air of the room, watching everything. And I said aloud something, what's happening to me? I said it aloud. And another girl who was in the room said, I'm feeling it too. I'm not inside my body, I'm feeling it. And so the state of consciousness catches on to people just by being in that state. Does that make sense? Similarly, if you're in a bad mood and someone comes in and hangs out with you, they're probably going to feel your bad mood. Whether you're angry, depressed, you know when a person feels that way. You can sense it. And it will catch on. The vibration will catch on. Same thing goes for a spiritual state. If the person is in a transcendental state, a state of consciousness where they're watching everything as we'll call it a witnesser, you will find that people who are attuned to your energy will also catch on to the same experience. That's why we hold these gatherings here, because I'm trying to sort of pass on a state of consciousness that you could experience something deeper, more profound than just body-mind consciousness. Because everyone on this earth is experiencing body-mind consciousness. What else is there? You know what I mean? After a while, you're like, okay, I've done it. What next? Right? What next? Sooner or later, you get tired. You've tried all the pleasures of the world. You've gone to Hawaii. You've gone to Bali. You've gone to, I don't know, whatever exotic places. And you've drank the finest wines, met the most beautiful women. And you go, okay, I've tried all of it. By the way, I'm saying this from personal experience. I've gone to a lot of countries, met a lot of fine people, and still I'm dissatisfied with my life. There must be something more. That's why I got on the spiritual path. Because I had heard yogis say, you know what? It's possible for you to tune into an eternal blissful happiness that never shuts down, and your heart is always loving and peaceful. I said, I'll take that. So what did I do? You can imagine the conclusion of this story. Since vibration catches on, I said, let me go visit the great saints and yogis and enlightened ones, sit in their presence, bask in their energy, and see if it catches on to me. And indeed, after serious work and like a lot of effort and resources to go visit those beings, I sat with them, and bit by bit, it worked on me and ate away the Brian character, the ego, whatever, the mind, however you want to say it, until, ding, something happened. I'm a different being. I'm in a different dimension. I am not what I was. And I said, other people have to know about this. This is exciting. This is more exciting than chocolate chip cookies. And trust me, I love chocolate chip cookies. So that's how I got here. He said to me, okay, it's time for you to leave your old life. I was running a financial planning business and successful. I mean, you know, but I worked hard too and was comfortable making money. And I went from that to renouncing the financial planning. And pretty much everything I had, all my suits, nice ties, you know, all of that, I either gave away or sold. I really couldn't sell the clothes, but I had a little garage sale. I had a classical guitar. I used to play guitar all the time. And my friend, who happened to be homeless, I housed him in my Austin apartment while I lived there sometimes. I brought him over and I took him into my apartment and I said, I've got a bunch of stuff here, but I'm renouncing everything. What do you want? You can choose anything you want. And he looks around and he sees this fine Spanish classical guitar. He says, well, what will you do with that? And I said, it's yours. And he took it. Now, he was a good musician, so I didn't mind. He was a real good musician. He was in a band, and he could really use it. So he took the guitar. Went back to living under his bridge, but he had now a guitar, and he played. And then I sold my car, and I got the van up at the bed, and I just set off. And I'm telling you, it was the best decision I ever made. Forget financial planning. Dry compared to this. Money, dry compared to this. Matters of the heart, I found, are, for me, the most important. Because when you love, your life becomes alive. Right? I was functioning mostly, as most guys do, from their head, figuring out things on a rational level. You can get by, but you don't feel alive. You feel like, oh, well, I'm proud that I'm so successful and so smart and so intellectual. That was nothing compared to the love and joy that I could experience here through these types of gatherings. This is where the treasure is, where I found. All along inside me and not somewhere on the outside world where I was going to grasp it or capture it or earn enough money to get it to finally be happy, to achieve the American dream. So, that's a short autobiography. Today the topic happens to be awakening the heart. So, would you like to sing a song together? Have you sung before? So this, you don't have to worry about getting the notes right. That doesn't matter. It's more about just having fun with it. And if you can have fun and be open, then the experience will be a lot more profound. The energy will go a lot deeper. Some people come into this kind of gathering and go, what am I here for? Who's this guy? And what's this picture doing here? Why did he light a candle? Am I part of a cult? What's going on? Am I going to be brainwashed? What's this mantra thing? Like all these sort of like crazy questions that go through the mind. If you come in with all those questions in the mind and maintain that, you have just placed a wall and said, I don't want to experience anything new. This is too new. Now if you say, I am open, anything is possible. When I was in India walking through Rishikesh on a road, 2 times in a row, 2 different times, a guy called after me as I was walking by his shop. And he says something like, everything is possible. He just shouted it out. I didn't even... Twice that happened on 2 different occasions when I went to Rishikesh. It's like, that's what I like to hear in my day. So here you come and you can have the same attitude. Everything is possible. In a moment, you could snap through into a different realm of bliss, love, and joy, and your jaw will drop and you will be lost. And Jenna will just say, yeah, just stay here. I'll give you put the key in your lap and you can just meditate here for the next few hours. It's all good. I'm not speaking for you, but you can kick him out if you want. But I mean, that was what happened to people. Close their eyes, go into a deep, amazing meditation, and then open their eyes and it's like hours later, like what just happened? Time didn't exist for me. That's how powerful you can get absorbed into the meditation. Sounds kind of cool. So, we're going to chant then a love mantra together. It's one of my favorites. It's Anandam Premanandam. And you know this one as well. Anandam, which means bliss. Most people know that word. And Premanandam. Prem means divine love. Divine love means you love no one, you love everyone, but no conditions. You don't say, I love you because. You never say that. You just say, I love. It's all good. That's what this mantra is designed to kind of cultivate inside you, that feeling of presence inside your own heart. So feel free, again, to sing and just enjoy. And again, don't worry about singing it correctly. That's not the point. The point is to feel into the mantra. What are you tuning into? And the way you can feel it more deeply is just say simply to yourself, I am open. I allow. I accept. You say that in your mind. It's like an affirmation. It like creates space in your being. And then the presence can arise all by itself. So again, Anandam Premanandam. Sing it with me as you get the tune. heart space and imagine that your heart space begins to glow with the energy of the mantra as you breathe. If you want to feel it even more deeply, you just say to yourself, I want to tune in to the energy more profoundly. Imagine that light in your heart is just pure, divine light. And like you would imagine if you were in heaven and the light so beautiful there, so pure. Imagine that right here in your chest, glowing. Energy growing more powerful there, more alive. And then right now, think of someone in your life who needs love, who perhaps is not doing well or not happy, who really needs love. And imagine that person is right there and sitting in front of you. Try to visualize that person right here in the room with you, facing you. Bring your hands into a cupped position in front of your heart. Imagine that light in your heart kind of rolls right into the palms of your hands. And you're holding that pure light now in your hands. And then reach out slowly and place that globe of light into the chest of that being. Kind of roll into that person's heart space. watch what happens with that person in front of you as the light illuminates their chest and begins to spread. Imagine it spreading throughout their body, their aura, healing them. Notice the expression on that person's face now. And then ask that person, what message do you have for me? And let them answer. And then thank that person for being here. And just let the image go. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. It's helpful if you want to pray for someone, for their well-being, to get into a meditative state first. Because if you just, your mind is wild, then you're not going to have as much power in your prayer. So preparing for it by going into a meditation and then visualizing them being healed or whatever, however you want to do the prayer. And any thought that you think about someone will affect them. That's what we were talking about. So just watch what you think regarding people. Any negative thought, you're sending a negative energy towards them. Any judgment that you have towards them, you're sending that energy towards them. Any loving thought, same thing. They'll receive a loving energy from you. So your thoughts are very, very powerful. Ultimately, when you really get deeply into meditation and to yoga, what happens is the inner commentator stops. You know, the inner commentator that says, well, I don't like that person's face, and they were rude to me, but I do like that person's face. Oh, they smiled at me. You know, all the constant chatter that goes on in the mind, they call it the inner commentator. That commentator dies and you live in stillness all the time, your mind doesn't get activated like that, like a normal human. Can you imagine? If you no longer had a chattering mind. You know, the reason why people have to sleep so much at night is because they're exhausted from all the thoughts that they are thinking during the day. I'm thinking so much, I'm so tired. I wish my mind would be quiet. But you can say to your mind right now, okay mind, stop fidgeting. 2 seconds later, can I start again? It just keeps running and revs up, doesn't it? Do you know why that happens? We have so many desires, and you know, this person to change, that person to act a certain way. I want this food, I want that food, I want to see this, I want to see that. So many desires. Every single thought in your mind is a desire to be something, to do something, to have someone act, to change something. That's the nature of the mind. And because we've been doing this for so long, it's like a motor. It can't stop, or what do you call it? An avalanche, like when a snowball starts like a little tiny thought, and then as it rolls down the mountain, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Suddenly you've got this avalanche of thoughts going through your mind, and you can't stop it. You can't just stand in front of the big, huge snowball that's going to go, okay, stop. The thoughts are not going to stop just because you say stop, right? You can go ahead, try it right now. Tell your mind, go ahead, stop thinking. Telling you, we have like probably at least 50,000 thoughts going on every single day. And we could struggle our whole life trying to still the mind. And it's not so easy just to tell it to do that. It kind of requires something more. And this is where we come into being around a true spiritual energy. Remember that secret that no one is supposed to say anything about? Can't leave this room? When you connect with that spiritual energy, that energy will still your mind naturally. You won't have to try so hard to like, okay, you know, I gotta be quiet, I gotta quiet my mind. It's too much work, isn't it? Every day you get exhausted trying to quiet your mind. You're gonna give up meditation really quick. It's just not gonna be satisfactory to you. So when you can find that genuine presence and feel into it and touch into it, it will meditate you. How fantastic. I don't have to try to still my mind. It's like something else is meditating me, and I naturally go into that state. And I don't need any drugs to do it. I mean, you could use drugs, and drugs are fun, but what if you could naturally still your mind and you didn't need any outside substance to get you there? You know, there was the joke, like, you know, California is a grassy land, meaning everyone's got grass, marijuana. But what if you go to another country or state where they don't have any of it? How are you going to survive? You don't have that drug anymore. That's why it's important to carry your meditation with you. And then ultimately, if you do it enough, your whole life will be just a flow of meditation. And nothing will shake you. Has anyone ever been really shaken? What I mean by shaken is like traumatized by something that happened to you that was so shocking. Yeah, you have. Something that was so shocking, you didn't even know what to do. It was like such a shock. Could be like someone hit you with you got hit by a car, or someone said a series of words to you that were so shocking, it just like you were traumatized by the words. Those kinds of things. Probably everyone here has had some sort of trauma. And what happens is normally we can't handle that traumatic, that difficult circumstance. We can't even process it. We don't even know what to do with that. You know, when someone hits you someone hit my car a couple years ago, and I got out and I was just reeling. I didn't even know what to think. So the trauma gets buried in the subconscious and unconscious mind, and it's vibrating there, and it gets stuck there. And so you try to meditate, but all the traumas and all the issues in the subconscious and unconscious mind, the stuff that you never processed, is still underneath the surface and won't let you meditate. So the energy here is designed to push all that stuff out of your system, to go deep into your subconscious and unconscious mind and just sweep it away, sweep it clean. So you can meditate more easily, and you will go into more spontaneous meditations naturally, easily. And then you'll be delighted to do your meditation every day. You'll be looking forward to it as opposed to dreading it, because you know it's going to be a struggle to try to still your mind. So people can highly benefit from a spiritual being who lights up their spiritual fire in them. I went to a spiritual retreat in Austin, Texas, my first spiritual retreat in 2007, and we did a really heavy breath session. I mean, for at least an hour of just deep breathing. And somewhere about 45 minutes into the breath session, heavy breathing, something turned on inside me, and it was a fire, heat, some sort of fire, and it was a meditation fire. And I thought, I've never felt this before. It's like a current running through me. Has anyone experienced that before? Almost like an electrical current just flowing through you and meditating your mind automatically. You didn't even have to sit down and try to meditate. It's meditating you. Right? That's the fire I'm talking about. You know? I keep thinking hot yoga. You know, light the fire. Some people call it Kundalini. Kundalini is your attention. Is your attention going towards worldly things, objects? Because if it is, you're starting to get into earth object consciousness. And there's no way you're going to get into spiritual consciousness because you're so focused on the objects of the world. This is the majority of the planet. 99% of people are in that state. They mostly care about physical objects, and you know why? Because you get immediate gratification from physical objects. It's easy to get physical objects to give you pleasure, isn't it? The easiest thing. Not so easy to connect into spiritual energy. You actually kind of usually need to do some work to, start doing nice things for people, start leading an ethical life. Don't lie, don't steal, the basic principles of yoga. Everyone knows that, right? Don't judge, this and that, like the foundation of yoga. And then you start to do the asanas and the breathing and all that kind of compounds, and suddenly at some point you get lit up into another realm, and that's your spiritual energy. And when that hits you, it will, remember I said at the beginning, use the quote, knock your socks off? I think I got that from my dad or something like that phrase. He would use that. I kind of like it, Socks, like, what happened to my socks? Because the energy, the spiritual energy is so strong and so undeniable and so different than normal human physical consciousness that you're like, what is that about? And you are compelled to search more. You cannot stop yourself. And you will not stop until you find out what this, we'll say, alternate dimension is, or whatever you want to call it. Because it's so exciting and so mystical. You know what mystical is? Mystical equals mysterious, meaning you don't understand it. It's stunning. Like your mind just goes blank. You don't even know how to categorize what this different state of being is. And if everyone knew this state, this would be such a happy-go-lucky world. You wouldn't see anyone frowning anymore. You know, Chelsea comes, why do yoga teachers go, well, they're teaching? It's like, if you are in the state of bliss, you're smiling from ear to ear. You're so excited about life. You wake up in the morning and you can't wait for your day. Whereas most people, I don't want to go to bed, I'm so tired. I see that sometimes on Facebook, people posting stuff like, I just don't want to get up. The true yogi who's in that state of bliss, they get up and they're fired up and ready for the day. They can't wait. Wouldn't that be great to be in that state? And then not only that, you go to school and your mind is super focused. Somehow you can focus. There's no such thing as ADD. Yogi doesn't have ADD. Yogi sits down, does the SAT in like half an hour. Got it. 1600. Done. Harvard? Fine. Learn all the subjects at Harvard? Take all the classes and become a master of them? Fine. That's easy compared to trying to achieve higher spiritual states. Higher spiritual states, you have to dedicate every molecule of your being to reach that. You have to dedicate your whole life to that, to reach the supreme state of being where you are everything and everyone. You're looking through the eyes of every single being on the planet. You know what everyone is thinking, what their past, what their present, what their future is. You have achieved the divine state. That is a true Sat Guru. And everyone at some point will achieve that state in this lifetime or the next. You will. Even if you don't believe me now, a word of what I'm saying, or don't even care about what I'm saying, in the next lifetime, whatever seeds were planted here will carry through. You will remember and you will start to search for your own soul. You will. Guaranteed. Everyone will be brought back to their source. Like metal to a magnet. Unquestionable. So you have to worry about that. Question is, how long do you want to plan to spend playing in the playground of Earth? Tasting this, eating that, going to this movie, going to that movie. At some point you will be so delighted with your own self. You don't need a movie to be happy. You're in the bliss of love, joy, peace. Self sustains. Happy. You don't get lonely. You don't feel depression anymore. You don't feel anger anymore. You are. That's the path of yoga. Yoga, people miss the point. This is what people are trying to achieve. Now, honestly, and I'll be very honest, a lot of yoga classes people won't come unless you promise them a slim body and fine-toned muscles. It's just kind of how our world is. It's physical, right? So people are focused on physical. But if you can draw them in, marketing. Oh, I can look like that woman? Oh boy, she's so radiantly shiny and she's beautiful. I want to look just like her. See, a lot of times guys have trouble coming to yoga classes. They get intimidated. Man, all these women are so refined, so good. I can't possibly come to a yoga class. The 80% of people who come to spiritual classes and yoga classes are female. It's very intimidating. That's what they have. What do they call it? Tight-legged guys. I forgot what they call this. Yoga for guys or something like that. Let's just bring the guys who have really tight legs into one class. We don't have to embarrass ourselves, and then we can do yoga. And we're with the same company. We're all in the same boat together. As opposed to look at all these women are so good at yoga. I can't do that. It's too hard. You're looking around, comparing yourself. God. So yes, you will at some point be drawn towards the sort of higher realms, you will be dissatisfied with this world. You'll say, okay, I want more. It's a very exciting path, and perhaps not so easy, because you will have to face your demons. Meaning like the negativity in your ego. Things like hatred, jealousy, anger, depression, sadness, despair, sorrow, just bleh. Some words you really can't really use. I mean, it's just like all that stuff that comes up every day, you will have to face that. Because you could go home and watch TV and not pay attention to it and be delighted. That's what I used to do. Go home and I watched a show called Lost. That was a long time ago. I don't really watch much TV anymore, but it was one of my favorite TV shows. I got so absorbed into it, I forgot all my problems. It's an easy way to get happy, but the problem is after the show ended, the last episode, that's it? What do I do now? I have to be with myself? I can't be with myself. I have to find another show. Thus, the pattern goes, the circle goes on and on and on, which symbolizes lifetime after lifetime after lifetime of desiring the pleasures of the world, right? If you are hooked to the pleasures of the world at the end of your life, your soul's going to want to go and have another pleasurable experience. So it gets incarnated into another body in the next lifetime. And it continues on, revolving, a revolving door. And all of us have had hundreds of thousands of lifetimes just like this one. That's what I mean. After how many lifetimes does it take before you go, maybe there's something more than just this revolving door? Does it make sense, right? You want something more. And you ask, what is the real point of life? Kids who get exposed to this question, unbelievable karma for a child to ask this question, what's the point of my life? Whereas most people, guess when they ask the question? Oh, you got cancer and you've only got 6 months to live. What? What did I just do for the last 60 years? What's the point of my life? Why? Because now you're no longer immortal. Death is coming for you. I'm not trying to be morbid here. I'm just saying, like, you get very present to like, wow, what am I doing here? Did I just spend the last 60 years just getting by and making some money so I could relax in front of my TV at home and that's it? Are you kidding me? That's it? That's the point of life? And then you realize I'm lost. You know that song, I'm lost and I was lost and now I'm found. Do you know what that song means? Was it Amazing Grace, how sweet the sound that saved a soul like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. That's the activation of the spiritual energy. I was lost in the world, thinking that I wanted these and needed these things. The spiritual light turns on in me, and now I'm found, meaning the light has found me. I'm illuminated. My soul is illuminated. Now I know the purpose of life. That's what that song is about. I'm saved. The joy has arisen inside me. You can see why I want to share this. This is like not just another science class or something, or another English class. This is something that everyone can be exposed. That's why I'm so happy if kids show up, even if they don't listen. The energy penetrates into them, it soaks into them. You know, whether they understand a word about what I'm saying, that's not the point. I feel very fortunate if a child comes to a gathering. So let's chant another mantra together. This one will be easier to chant. And the mantra will shift as we go. This is an invocation of many different energies. And some of you may recognize it. Some of you may recognize all of these energies. But we start with the mantra Hari Bol. Hari Bol. Hari, the word Hari, some people say is another name for God. And Bol would simply mean like hooray. So hooray for God, something like that. That's what you're saying. But it's a mantra that is programmed with a particular transmission. Each time as we switch into another name, it's another name, another kind of vibration that you're connecting to. So you want to try to see if you can feel into the vibration of each one, and it will awaken different energy channels and centers inside your being, depending on which mantra you chant. This is a whole science. It doesn't have to make any sense to you at all, nor do I really want to make it into a science. I want to make it more into like a feeling, a sensing. So you don't need this to figure out what the mantra means. You need this to feel what it is. And at some point, you can get absorbed completely into the mantra where you won't even be able to chant it anymore because you've become it. You've merged with that underlying presence. So, Hari Bol. It's easy, huh? Allow the mantras to penetrate deep into your heart, into the core of your being. To awaken your heart. The heart chakra pulsating with the energy of these mantras. Place our right hand on our heart, and then we'll state the following words to our heart right now, in our mind. I am love. I am peace. I am joy. I am pure. I am whole. complete. I am free. Now we just relax and allow the final mantras to wash over us. These mantras are in honor of Shri 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 Swami Purna Maharaj, who blesses this gathering tonight with his grace, love. This is whole. That is whole. From wholeness comes the whole. We take away the whole. From the whole still remains whole. So we place our hands in prayer position in front of our heart. We'll chant together the mantra Om Shanti Shanti Shanti, sending a wave of peace to all beings in this world. Beyond all.